What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we have the arrival of Geese Howard Guild Raid. And the thing about this is you're going to have to start from the very beginning. You're going to start with easy, normal, hard, expert, and then lunatic. But the interesting thing about Geese is there's different dot effects applied to each one, whereas before with Rugal, we just had burn and starlight and darkness, right? Just 3 dot effects. But here we actually have 5 dot effects. So on easy, you actually need to apply shock damage, which is actually pretty good. So Nightmare Geese is actually going to be probably one of the best characters for this, just because that BS character has the shock damage. And then on normal, you actually need to apply bleed. So actually Guinness becomes extremely important, especially for this here game mode. I'm actually going to show you guys, well, I'll do a run with you guys using Guinness. And then after that, I couldn't take a look, but one of my friends in Discord, he let me know the other dot effects that were applied. And it was on hard, you have to use starlight. On expert, you have to use poison. And on lunatic, you have to use shock again. So you actually have, I'm sorry, it was 4 dot effects, not 5. 4 different dot effects. You'll need shock for normal and lunatic, which is actually quite interesting. Whereas Omega, you need starlight for that lunatic mode. So shock and poison are going to be very, very important for this, especially on expert and lunatic. But in the very beginning, this is where you're all going to be. My guild has not yet broke down the meter, so we can open up hard, but we will. Matter of fact, we only need 196 damage, and then we could break into hard mode, which, you know, sucks because I only got 1 key, so I actually won't be able to play hard mode for you guys. But this is pretty much probably going to be, I'm not going to say the best team because I haven't experienced a lot of teams. I haven't played with a lot of different teams for this, but this is probably going to be one of the best teams for it. Rugal actually does have bleed, but his bleed is not a lasting dot effect. It's just a 1-second dot. He applies bleed, damage equal 80% of attack, but it's just for a quick, brief moment. It's not like Guinness where you actually get a dot effect of bleed where it actually lasts a damage over time, which is actually nice, right? That's something that's really good about this character is he actually has bleed, especially whenever he's doing critical hits, right? You know, inflicts bleed damage equal to 46% of attack, 46% of attack to target every 1 second for 3 seconds upon landing a critical hit. And there's no cooldown on this. So he can apply bleed left and right. And Guinness actually has a crit rate buff on his second skill. And I'm actually using this set right here where it actually applies a little bit extra bleed. I'm not saying you guys have to do this. You don't. You could use an Akane set form. You could use a Leah set form. You could use the Serena set form. But this set really is great. And if you have these cooldown cards right here for Guinness, these are actually going to be really good because they actually increase his critical rate, which is just going to bump up your bleed. You're just going to do bleed, a lot more bleed more often. It really, really helps. You know, as far as the build, you know, I do have 2 imprint stones. Actually, I don't know why I don't have my last imprint stone on there. Interesting, interesting. What do we got here? No. Let's put that double attack on him. The run that actually I just did, guys, actually, it's pretty funny. The run that I just did where I got this 583 million, I actually had 2 attack stones on Guinness. I didn't have those 3. So that's actually pretty funny. I thought I had 3 stones on them, but I didn't. That's something I actually forgot I did from a long time ago when I was actually testing imprint stones. I actually forgot that I had that imprint stone off of Guinness, which is pretty funny. But, you know, BS Chrysalid, I mean, we all know what a damage dealer he is, but his leadership's the main reason I have him here. Upon the damage is the 60% increase of boss fighters, and Guinness is a boss fighter, so is Rugal. So they're getting buffed up, and they got all the max stones, blah, blah, blah. And as far as card set, I am running the City of Darkness set, and then I do got that option card to increase blast skills for Chrysalid. I am using his 3PG, but you could use his 5PG if you're using him. This isn't a video to show you guys the best teams. We're just going to run through this and check it out. This will only be the 3rd time that I actually tried playing this. And then Rugal, of course, you know, blah, blah, for all of his damage and all of his imprint stones. You know, I don't want to go over all those characters. We went over them 100 million times. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a pre-recorded run that I actually did on normal. Now, this isn't going to be an optimal run. This is only the 2nd time I actually tried this, but we'll go ahead and pull that up right now. And here we go. So I just started off with Chrysalid, and then I switched to Guinness, apply a little bleed, then I switched to Rugal, break the meter, build up my 3PG, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my 3PG. I really tried to do the same pattern as I normally would do in a lot of these runs. I just use my leadership and my final support character that doesn't have the dot that I need to stall the timers. And you can do that with the BS characters and the SS characters. I mean, obviously for the Starlight, Keo, the SS team is going to be the best. But I think for the shock teams, you know, it's probably going to be the BS team because you're going to have that shock damage from Geese. But yeah, I mean, it feels a lot like Omega, but man, look at it. Look at how cool this looks. It's just dark and demonic, as it should be because it's Nightmare Geese. It should look demonic. It should look like this, and I really love that. I think that's amazing. I love what they've done with it. And there's a moment in this fight where Geese, you know, he'll do something similar to Omega Rugal, where he'll actually do kind of an explosion, but it's not exactly the same thing. He'll actually do Raging Storm, and it's pretty cool. Oh yeah. And you see that aura that's on the bottom of the screen. If your hyper armor is not up, if your super armor is not up, you'll actually start getting kind of like a stun lock, if you will. You're like, and you can't really go into your skills. It's kind of a pain, in all honesty, whenever that gets brought up. That's a real pain in the butt. But I'm just, you know, just trying to go balls to the wall, trying to do as much damage as I can to this guy. And like right there, it's just, yeah. He still can stun you. I'm not really sure if you can dodge it. Whenever you're facing Omega, I know that there's a certain point whenever Omega gets to stun you, before he does his explosion, you can actually kind of dodge it, time it right, and dodge it. I'm not very good at it, but I know there's other players that do it. However, I don't know if you can do that with Geese here, you know, because he's got that aura on the ground. I mean, maybe when you're going into your dodge or coming out of it, it'll still catch you and start stun locking you a little bit. So I'm not really sure if it will work with Geese Howard or not as far as dodging his explosion, because it is different than Rugal for sure. Look at that. So look at that aura on the bottom there. It's just, that crap can really mess you up. But as long as you have your hyper armor up, or like whenever he does this, right, you see that aura on the bottom. If you use your awakened skill, it'll take you out of it, and then you can go into your hyper armor and go into your regular skills. Yeah. It's a masker, my friends. And I definitely could have done better than this. I definitely could have got a better score than this, for sure, with this team. But this is only the second time, and I thought I'd just come in here and go for gold. But it is pretty wild seeing Geese being such a massive monster. I mean, look at him, just like Omega. He's freaking huge. And I really do love that we have some new content and something different to look at. I think that's awesome. And I actually didn't know how they were going to do this. You know, I got 583 million, which isn't bad, right? It's not too bad. But I really wasn't sure how they were going to do this. I didn't know if they were going to give us, you know, just one Geese mode and then have Omega, right? Or how they were going to do this. Because, you know, I thought maybe they were going to have like Omega Rugal for maybe easy, and then Nightmare Geese for normal, then Omega, then Nightmare Geese. But all of these are Nightmare Geese, which is actually pretty damn cool. And my guys did break the meter. Actually, we can play on hard mode now, where we actually need to apply Starlight. And, you know, the best Starlight team, at least in my opinion, would be the SS team, having Keo in the leadership, Mai, and Athena. But I mean, you could use this team right here as well, where you could just come in here. And, you know, because Chrysalid has Starlight, you could do the same thing. Let's see how this goes. Just out of curiosity. One thing about Guinness, man, I mean, even though he's not an SS character or a BS character, he really does break that meter super, super fast because of all the hits he does. I mean, look at how fast he breaks that damn thing. It's crazy. Boom. There we go. We'll do our 3PG again, and then we'll switch back to Chrysalid. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, now I'm kind of in focus mode now, trying to do as much damage as I can. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to apply a little starlight afterwards. There we go. Little off my groove with my Rugal here. Booyah. Let's do it to it. Oh boy, here we go. I think the starlight just finished. We might have just screwed ourselves. Okay, we're just applying damage. I like using Rugal's 3PG because it stalls the timer. I mean, this is the first time I tried this, guys. Like, and like I said, if your hyper armor's up, that aura at the bottom, it won't stun lock you. But if you sit there, it will. Oh my god. And I missed my first skill there. And I know this isn't the best score. I probably could have done better. But 639 million, not too bad considering I just came in here off the cuff and decided to play this. I mean, it feels about as difficult as Omega Rugal. I don't know if it really is more difficult. Like I said, you know, the most difficult thing about this guy, at least it seems to me, is the aura at the bottom. Like I said, if you don't have hyper armor up, I'm not sure if super armor works or not, because I haven't got to play it a whole lot. But if you don't have hyper armor up, with that aura at the bottom, you will you'll get kind of stun locked a little bit, and that will screw you up. But if you can get out of it, if you can dodge and get out of it, like I did with Chrysalis there at the end of that fight, you can avoid that attack and then just go in your hyper armor and you'll actually avoid it completely whenever you're doing that. But I'm going to have to play this a lot more to really figure it out. I mean, this isn't a video on the ways to beat Nightmare Geese or anything like that. I just want to give you guys my brief feelings on it. I really do love it. I'm happy to see something different. But the difficulty feels about the same. It doesn't really feel any more or any less difficult than Omega. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult. Let me know in the comments what you all think about it. If you feel it's more difficult or if you feel it's easier. You know, I'll have a better idea of this whenever I can face Expert and Lunatic and then give you a better assessment of what I think about it. And then, you know, work on learning more of the mechanics of Nightmare Geese. So let me know how y'all feeling about Nightmare Geese. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.